You ever have one of those days, or maybe it's most days, where you just think, man, I just don't have the energy I used to? Well, you're not alone, and you're definitely not imagining it. So, what's really going on inside our bodies? Why does it feel like our batteries just don't hold a charge like they used to? All right, let's get into it.
Okay, this quote right here from a Reddit user, this just says it all, doesn't it? Whether you've got little kids running you ragged, a job that never seems to end, or just, life. That feeling of being an exhausted wreck is something we can all relate to. It's like a universal language, right? But look, beyond all that day-to-day chaos, there's a deeper biological reason this is happening. So let's ask the big question. Why do we really have less energy as we get older? That's what we're going to unpack right now. We're going to go from that feeling we all know so well and dive deep into the fascinating science that explains it all. All right, first things first, let's talk about that feeling. You know, the one that I'm getting old feeling? It's that universal sense that we're just slowing down. And it's not just one big thing, right? It's a bunch of little changes that kind of sneak up on you, affecting your body and your mind. So, how does this slowing down actually show up? Well, it can be a whole mix of things. Maybe you have a harder time falling asleep, or you're waking up a bunch during the night. And physically, yeah, our muscle mass starts to decline, our bones aren't as dense, and our metabolism just isn't what it used to be. Then there's the mental side. You ever forget a name that's right on the tip of your tongue? These aren't random things happening. They're all connected. They're all signs of the same process. Okay, so this is a super complex biological thing we're talking about. How do we make sense of it all? Well, there's this brilliant analogy that really makes it all click. Think of it like a fading photocopier. This idea, which someone shared on Reddit, is just genius. Here's how it works. Imagine you take a drawing and you photocopy it. Then you take that photocopy and you photocopy it. And you just keep doing that over and over for years. What's the final copy going to look like? Even with the best photocopier on the planet, tiny little flaws, a little smudge here, a bit of fading there, they start to add up. Well, guess what? Your body is doing that exact same thing all the time with itself. So this whole process is happening throughout our entire lives. When we're young, our cells are like that perfect, original blueprint. The first few copies, they're pretty much perfect. But fast forward a few decades, after millions and millions of copies, now you're looking at the thousandth generation copy. The basic picture is still there, sure, but it's faded, it's blurry. The cells just aren't as effective anymore. And that, right there, is basically what aging is at a cellular level. Okay, so this fading photocopies idea is a great way to picture it. But what does that actually mean inside our bodies? What's the real biology behind this slowdown? Well, to answer that, we need to take a look at your body's tiny little energy factories. Let me introduce you to the mitochondria. You might remember these guys from biology class. They're basically the power plants inside every single one of your cells. Their whole job is to take the food you eat and the air you breathe and turn it into energy, a molecule called ATP. Think of ATP as the gasoline that runs literally everything in your body. But here's the crazy part, the big catch. Creating all that energy isn't a perfectly clean process. It's kind of like a car engine. It creates exhaust. In our cells, this exhaust is made of nasty little things called free radicals. And these free radicals actually damage the mitochondria themselves. So get this, the very act of making energy is slowly destroying the power plants that make the energy. This whole idea is the foundation of what's called the mitochondrial free radical theory of aging. And if you look at them side by side, the difference is just night and day. Young mitochondria, they're like brand new high-performance engines. Super efficient, cranking out tons of energy, almost no damage. But aged mitochondria, well, they're like an old, beat-up engine. They're way less efficient, they produce less energy, and they're just covered in all that cumulative damage. They just can't keep up anymore. So what's the bottom line here? The impact is, honestly, it's huge. As we get older, our bodies might be running on half, or in some cases, even just a quarter of the cellular energy we had when we were young. Just think about that for a second. That one fact explains so much about why we feel that drop in energy as the years go by. Okay, so we've drilled down from that general feeling of being tired all the way to the microscopic level of our cells. Now let's zoom back out and connect the dots. How does this cellular energy crisis cause that system-wide slowdown we all feel? Let's look at how it hits everything, from our sleep to our strength. First up, sleep. Man, does it take a hit. As we get older, our sleep patterns just change. We start spending less time in that really deep, restorative sleep.
the kind our body needs to actually repair itself. You find yourself waking up way more often, maybe 3 or 4 times a night. So even if you get 8 hours, you wake up feeling like you barely slept. It's a classic, vicious cycle of fatigue. And then there's our physical strength. This energy shortage hits our muscles hard. Take a look at this. By the time we hit age 70, we've lost about 22% of our muscle tone compared to when we were 30. And with less muscle, you just get tired more easily. It's what makes carrying groceries feel like a workout, and it just drains your energy for the whole day. This slowdown even messes with our hormones. A perfect example is the thyroid. It's kind of like the body's thermostat, controlling our metabolism. One really big study found a super strong link between that feeling of being tired and frail and even tiny little changes in how the thyroid is working. In fact, if your thyroid is just a little bit underactive, your odds of feeling frail more than double. It just goes to show how one little change can have a huge ripple effect across your whole body. All right, so that's the why. It's a bit of a downer, I know, but the story absolutely does not end there, because understanding why it happens is the first step to doing something about it. So now for the good part. Let's talk about what we can actually do to help recharge our own batteries. A massive, massive piece of this puzzle is sleep. Seriously, improving your sleep hygiene can make a world of difference. That means simple stuff like trying to stick to a regular sleep schedule, laying off the caffeine or tobacco before bed, and, this is a big one, making your bedroom a screen-free zone. And hey, if you're just lying there and can't fall asleep after 20 minutes, get up, go do something relaxing, and then try again. The worst thing you can do is just lie there stressing about it. Next, let's talk about fuel for your body and mind. Eating a good heart-healthy diet, something like the Mediterranean diet, gives those little mitochondrial power plants the high-quality fuel they need. Exercise is also non-negotiable, especially strength training and weight-bearing stuff. That's how you fight back against that muscle and bone loss. And don't forget your brain. Keep it challenged. Learn new things. That's how you keep your mental energy up. Now, there's also some research that suggests certain supplements might give you a boost. Things like coenzyme Q10, which is directly involved in making that cellular energy, or vitamin B12, which helps turn your food into fuel. And then there's stuff like Korean ginseng, which can help your body handle stress and fatigue. But, and this is super important, you've got to talk to your doctor before you start taking anything new. That's an absolute must. And this all brings us right back to that photocopier idea, doesn't it? Every choice we make, the food we eat, how much we move, how well we sleep, it's all just maintenance on that machine. And it's simple, really. The better you take care of the photocopier, the better the copies are going to be, for a lot longer. So look, getting older, that's going to happen. It's a fact of life. But how old you feel, that's not written in stone. We actually have a lot of say on that. By understanding what's going on under the hood, we realize that while aging is inevitable, feeling old, that can be a choice.